Why fans are so angry at Hytale developers. Hello and welcome back to Hytale Truffle. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. In today's video, we're going to talk about why fans are so angry at the Hytale developers, and here's why. There are sure to be a lot of expectations when a game has been riding the hype train for as long as Hytale has, and as the numbers of admirers in the community grows with each passing year, those expectations have begun to grow out of control. And this is precisely what we are discussing today. Because in this video, we'll talk about the most anticipated and demanded aspects of Hytale that the community expects to see when the game launches. Let's get started without further ado. Since the beginning, Hytale's world has been its main selling point. It's easy to see why, especially when it comes to Orbis. One of the ways the Hypixel servers set themselves apart from the worlds of Minecraft and Roblox was the depth of their fantasy realm. There were a billion more castles, temples, and ruins that anyone could have anticipated based on the vegetations, trees, and the landforms that dotted the wilderness. The grandeur of the universe seemed to bring out the explorer in all of us with Hytale's direct sequel and the development of those servers. It was nearly inevitable that fans would demand a larger in-game area. In light of this, how well is Hytale's shipping set up to do so? Fortunately, for the time being, the response looks to be astonishingly positive. There is something for everyone, from the hundreds of biomes listed to the 5 separate civilizations, each with its own history and culture, not to mention the hundreds of various sorts of buildings that can be created using this extraordinary construction process. With the world, it appears that one thing we Hytale fans won't have to worry about is our expectations not being met. In a similar vein, the studio looks to be more than happy to meet another fan request. It feels like an eternity every time we get news, but we haven't heard anything about Hytale in a long time. Even more so when it comes to breaking news of this magnitude. From a completely new world gen engine to revolutionary movement methods, this video will be jam-packed with Hytale news you won't want to miss. To begin with, I'd like to point out many of these changes are completely new even by Hytale standards, as the team stated many of these changes may not make it into the final game. Some, on the other hand, believe that the team's tardiness is announcing the changes reflect their high expectations for them. As they said themselves, we spent a lot of time over the last years conducting a deep investigations into all things we need to do in order to ensure that Hytale lives up to expectation. Let's get down to business with the game's most significant change since its announcement, in my opinion. The recent update's announcement of a multi-platform support, which is now first on the list of news, has nothing to do with the game experience, rather than something with a far greater impact on the real-world experience. That's right, we're talking about Hytale's availability and accessibility. As stated in the Winter 2021 update, they said, "It's vitally important for us that Hytale supports a large interconnected community for many years to come. That means making sure that we are ready for the challenges that come with growth, including eventually releasing the game on multiple platforms. However, we no longer expect it to be ready for launch until at least 2023, and it could take a long time." They explain there are 2 considerations driving this assessment. The first is that our capabilities as a studio have significantly improved and the scope of what we can do has expanded. Put it simply, we're better at making games than we used to be, but taking full advantage of this takes time. They then added, the second consideration is the need to develop Hytale in a way that allows us to bring it to multiple platforms as rapidly as possible. It's always been our goal to eventually release Hytale on mobile and consoles, as well as PC. But it has become apparent that we are heading for a scenario where our community would ultimately find itself split across versions and devices. They also added, "We think it's enormously important to avoid this, to create an ecosystem where as many players as possible can play together with their creation." However, this means making major changes to Hytale's engine and our approach to launch on this extends development time. That's enough for the number of things that we'll be able to interact with in the game, but what about the things we'll be able to construct ourselves? I'm referring to the building style, customization, combat, weaponry, and all that jazz. As you can guess, the Hytale community has taken care of that, and Hytale's excellent construction systems being one of the most widely acclaimed aspects. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.